Over 200 years ago, a chess-playing master was making waves in the chess world. Everywhere he went, a large crowd followed. So much had been heard about him, and over 200 people registered to see him play against world-renowned chess masters. Among his opponents were two of the most successful chess players in the world, whom he defeated with ease. He beat them both individually, and when they played jointly against him. Members of the audience eager to challenge him were easily put in their place. The following matches were even bigger than the last. Each venue he went to was filled to the brim with enthusiastic crowds. Hundreds clamored at the doors just to get a chance to see him play. However, there was something more to the story. It wasn't only his insane skill that mesmerized his adoring fans, it wasn't even his enchanting aura. It was the fact that he was not a man, but a robot in disguise. It was no ordinary robot. The contraption consisted of a life-sized dummy that sat behind a large wooden desk, stashed with gears, levers, and cranks. The dummy's dress sense was one of its most identifying features. It always wore a turban and colorful robes while holding a pipe in one hand. This Eastern-styled dress earned it the name the Turk. Like many valuable antiques in those days, the Turk was passed around from one owner to another for many decades. However, it was initially created by the renowned inventor Wolfgang von Kempelen. Kempelen, who was a royal advisor, built the robot to impress the Empress of Austria-Hungary, Maria Theresa. After promising to create an illusion that would surpass anything she had ever seen, the Turk made its first appearance in the Empress's court in 1769. As promised, the Turk blew the minds of all the nobles who attended its first exhibition. Kempelen wheeled out the 4-foot cabinet, and after opening the cabinet doors and proving to his audience that no one was inside, he went to the side and pulled a lever. The automation sprang to life and performed actions like turning its head, moving its hands, grabbing chess pieces, and moving them around the board while respecting the rules of the game. The audience was in awe. From that very moment, the Turk made a name for itself in the world of chess, defeating every audience member who challenged it. The incident was the first of its kind, and quite understandably, the spectators had a hard time understanding what they had just witnessed. Many of them tried to come up with explanations, most of which were ridiculous. Some court members thought it was sorcery, and others argued that a trained child or a dwarf was hiding in the cabinet, controlling the robot's actions. A few learned people speculated that the robot was being controlled by magnetism. However, what everybody could agree on was that Kempelen had attained a level of mastery in engineering that no other automation in history could compete with. The Turk continued to make public appearances for 5 years until Kempelen decided to retire it. However, such a revolutionary invention cannot be hidden for too long. In 1783, Maria Theresa's successor, Joseph II, announced his plans for the Turk. He was going to make the robot a source of entertainment on an international scale. That same year, he ordered Kempelen to take the Turk on a 2-year tour of Europe, making stops across the continent and playing chess tournaments alongside chess legends. Its first stop was in Paris, where it won against several world-class chess masters, including Benjamin Franklin, who was the American ambassador to France at the time. After a successful run in France, Kempelen and the Turk traveled to Germany, the Netherlands, and England. As always, the Turk remained undefeated and continued to puzzle many renowned scientists who tried to explain it. Kempelen's invention received heaps of praise, long after his untimely death in 1804. After his death, the Turk was bought by Johann Malzel, a German inventor and showman. Malzel modified the robot by installing a voice box that was programmed to say check whenever the opponent's king was endangered. Malzel toured the world with his updated version of the Turk and put on a show for the rest of his life. Under Malzel's oversight, the Turk's popularity grew exponentially. The German showman promoted his performances on all major platforms of the time, such as magazines and newspaper articles. One of the biggest shows the Turk featured in was in Vienna in 1809, where it played against the French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. In the match, the Emperor intentionally attempted a few illegal moves. In response to this, the Turk shook its head and returned the pieces to where they had originally been. Napoleon and the audience were stunned by the robot's intelligence. After Vienna, Maelzel and the Turk traveled to the United States in 1826, dazzling the crowds of Philadelphia, Boston, and Virginia. Just like everywhere else they had been, people kept trying to unravel the mystery behind the Turk, and before long, rumors began to spread that the robot was a sham. One skeptic was renowned writer Edgar Allan Poe, who wrote a detailed essay about the mystery surrounding the Turk. Poe argued that the Turk was a machine manipulated by a hidden human operator. He wrote, "It is quite certain that the operations of the automaton are regulated by mind and by nothing else." Several others tried to debunk claims that the robot performed functions all on its own. Another writer, Robert Willis, maintained his stance that a chess master was pulling the strings behind the life-sized dummy. The claims of these critics weren't completely out of place. In fact, they were completely plausible. However, nobody could explain exactly how the robot was being controlled by a human operator. Before each game, Kemplin would open the Turk's cabinets and show the audience its contents. However, there was something he kept secret for a long time. In reality, the gears and complex mechanisms inside the cabinet were nothing more than flashy gimmicks meant to hide the most important feature of the so-called robot. Away from the view of the audience was a small hidden compartment on the side of the wooden structure where a chess master could hide. But how was it possible for a human to fit inside a compartment barely 4 feet tall? Simple. The operator used a mechanical sliding seat which enabled him to slide out of view of the audience. When the game commenced, he would light a candle and watch the game by monitoring dangling metal discs. These discs were magnetically attached to the base of the chess pieces, making it possible for the operator to follow the game's progress. To make his moves on the chessboard, the operator used levers hidden in the cabinet to move the Turk. He could move the dummy's arms and head and open or close its fingers. It was a difficult task finding an operator who was skilled at being an operator and a master of chess as well. Both Kemplin and Maelzel hired random people they met while on tours. However, during the American tour, the operator was William Schlumberger, a European chess master. When he wasn't the brain behind the Turk, William posed as Maelzel's secretary, which was the perfect disguise. It wasn't until the death of Maelzel that the mystery behind the quote-unquote robot was revealed to the masses. After his death, its frame began to wane. The Turk was locked up and forgotten in a museum. Years later, a fire had engulfed the building, finally laying rest to the once illustrious machine. The Turk was a fascinating illusion that captured the attention of the world for decades. It tested the limits of what was possible for automations and machines in general. It likely generated the first conversations about the notion of a human AI. Although the Turk was a grand deception, its story serves as inspiration for future endeavors into making robots resembling humans. And who knows, maybe one day the Turk will return, hundreds of years into the future, revived from the ashes, but this time as a chess-playing android. So, what do you think? Would you, along with most of the world, be fooled by this intricate machine? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos.